Hello, welcome to my stream. Let me give y'all a minute to come in here. Let me invite some people. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. Anybody's welcome up here. I want us to have a conversation about biracial activism and how we can redefine it so it can benefit us. So thank you for joining me. James, are you here? I would love for you to come up here. I don't like sitting here talking to myself. I like having a conversation with people. I can't be sitting here talking to myself. Like, that don't really work for me. Let me invite some people. Copy to clipboard. Anybody want to join? Let me give y'all a minute. Anybody want to come up here? Let me go get James real quick. He might ride or die. Aw, James. Hello, can y'all hear me? Hold on. Oh, I gotta guess. Thank God. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Oh my God. Thank you for joining me up here. I appreciate you, man. Yes, I can't be here talking to
I got
myself. Like
you.
I need
I'm
a back
going
and
live
forth
too.
dialogue. So
I'm going live too later.
awesome. Okay, so let's get into this topic. So, hey Adonis, let's get into this topic. So, biracial activism. So, from my perspective, it's like in the past, like biracial activism always been towards like Black rights, right? We've always been fighting we've always been fighting the struggle, fighting the cause, fighting the power, doing everything we can to make sure, Black people have their rights and Black people have, oh, what's up,
Right.
Alana Vanguard? Thank you for being here. We've been struggling, fighting, muling away, trying to make sure Black people have their rights, and they turn around and discredit our work and our efforts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm
Right.
tired of that. I don't want to see that no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see that no more. I want us to fight for our own rights and fight for hate bills to be passed and fight for things that we need that's going to protect us. Hello, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. What's up, the mulatto men? Yes, I appreciate. I love all y'all. Thank you for being here. So I just want us to redefine biracial activism, because the image of biracial activism is like Colin Kaepernick. Like, he's the main image, like right now, because him taking the knee, he sacrificed his whole career, and people don't respect him. People laugh at him. Like, he's a laughing stock basically for trying to fight police brutality and stuff like that. So it's just like, how can we redefine this in this new era of us trying to claim us being biracial and fighting for our own rights? So how do we redefine
Right.
this? Like, how I was on a really good stream with a parent. He was a Black man of a biracial children, and I asked the question. I'm like, look, do you guys support hate bills that will protect your biracial children? And I actually suggested the hate bill should include the parents, because they get a lot of hate just for loving somebody of their own race. They get a lot of hatred and stuff too, just for creating biracial children. So it's like, I think a hate bill should include them, so we could form allies like this. That it's going to be a
Right.
win-win situation for us. And he was like, yeah, I haven't even thought about that. But I was like, yeah, I gotta make y'all gotta understand that we're gonna be singled out no matter where we go, because we're such a small population. So anywhere we go, we're gonna be the only people in the room that's biracial usually, unless you live in like Hawaii or New York, where it's like a lot of. But most of the country is mostly, we're gonna be the only person in the room. That's why we need these hate bills and stuff passed, so we don't get bullied at work or at school or wherever we go, where we're the only person in the room that's biracial. So that's how I had to get him to understand. I don't think he really got that part. So that's why we got to. He didn't really even think about it. So I'm like, that's why we got to talk to people people who create biracial children. All these people who think it's just cute and it's an accessory and it's like, oh, they're just cute. Like, they don't really think about what we go through. And I think they need to be aware. Like we need to make
Yeah,
sure
that's what
they
I'm
be
gonna be
aware,
talking
you
about in
know?
my. That's what I'm gonna be talking about in my live
Exactly.
about the abuse
Now that we
and
fight for biracial clubs.
all that stuff.
Exactly. Fighting for yourself as a biracial people can't be taken away from you. Exactly. I agree. Blacks are hating on girls. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I see that. We see this shit. It's not like it's like people are so openly hateful to us. And then like, we see this. Like we're here. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear. So it's like now we're like, okay, then what's the point? Well, we're not going to sit here and do this no more. Like it's a lose-lose for us. You know, we lose credibility. We become a laughing stock trying to, and then like we get made fun of. Oh, you're trying to prove your blackness. You're just like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lose for us. What do we gain from it? We got to
Hmm.
start just like I got the image of Talia Voider. I think she was going hard on TikTok. Like I respect her so much. Like she was the first one really speaking up. Like you need to claim you're biracial, and then like she was really going hard. Like shout out to her. Like was she was getting so much pushback. Like oh, I bet your mom is white. Like they're just saying oh, you just claim being biracial because your mom is white and all this BS. Like it was just she got so much pushback from it. And then I you know how I discovered her? I discovered her from watching Cynthia G's page because she posted something about her because she was like they were making fun of her because she was like, yeah, my mom is really ugly and unattractive, and they're like making fun of her for saying that about her mom or something. They're just like, yeah, these white ugly bitches, they be making these biracial kids and all this horrible shit. But that's how I discovered her, and then I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
she
she really
didn't
going
really
hard
mean it.
for
She
like
didn't really mean it in that way. She meant
exactly.
it.
I
Yeah.
know what she meant. But they took that talking point, they took her and then they're leaving out all the other shit of being anti-mixed race. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're extremely anti-mixed race. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
think we should claim that. Like, don't be anti-mixed race. Just like people say, don't be anti-black or don't be anti-white. We need to start speaking out. Don't be calling out people for being anti-mixed race because it's so common. It's normal. People are comfortable being anti-mixed race. You know what I'm saying? So we need to really like start going
Right.
harder about that. You know, they think they own us.
Oh, for
Exactly. Hi,
sure.
hybrid. How are you?
I'm up now. Not too bad. How's it going?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you for being up here. I would love to hear your perspectives about how we could be biracial activists. Howdy, hello, Miss Fairy. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm just here to add in my 2 cents. You keep going
Oh
what you were
yeah, go
talking
ahead.
about. You were talking about
Oh, go
that
ahead.
activist online. I just wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think a lot of the things she's saying is also how she's being affected by black women online because they really like. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at her
They
viewers,
go
you're going to see a whole
hard.
bunch of black women. It's going to be like a few people from other races. It's going to be a whole bunch of black women
Yes,
underneath just hating.
yes. Hating.
And
Uh-huh.
they try to get them to say things against their white parent. They try to get them to say negative things, right? They
Yeah,
try
they
to get them
like
to
that.
say,
They like that shit. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
and then
racist and they're
yeah.
hateful. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they'll get them to say something like "bash your mother," and then they'll take that and they'll clip it. But a lot of people don't realize how much these women in those spaces are getting gaslit, right?
Yep.
By the women online because a lot of people don't pay attention sometimes because even sometimes in the news you'll hear somebody say something kind of nasty to black women, but what
Mm-hmm.
they don't tell you is they don't tell you how many negative messages you go under that person's like Twitter or something. They don't tell you how many negative messages that person received before they said something negative.
Exactly. And that's what people don't see. They don't see us. They always have a outside looking in type of perspective. They're not in our shoes. You know what I'm saying?
They'll
So it's
treat it
like
like she just did that. She just did that off her head. She just hates us. When no, she's
exactly,
getting
exactly.
constant, never ending
Exactly. And
trolls.
she said that in that video I posted of her. She's like, yeah, y'all make it about color. You guys are thinking we're hating you guys for the color of your skin. No, we're pushing back against the anti-mixed race that you guys project onto us and that affects us. Like it's not about dark skin versus light skin. It's not about that at all. We're not gonna make this into a light skin versus dark skin dumbass colorism debate. It's about people being anti mixed race. And of course, we gotta take accountability too. You know what I'm saying? We can't sit here and just hate them because they hate us. Like, let's not do that. Let's not sit here and just be anti-black because they're anti-mixed. Like that'll never work. That just creates more tension and more hatred on both sides forever. So it's like we're gonna rise above that. We're gonna be the bigger people here. We're not gonna sit here and be anti-black and sit here and hate black people and sit here and be angry and resentful towards them. No, let's put that aside. Let's because we are half black. We gotta love who we are. So I think that we should just call out mixed race, anti-mixed raceness as much and often as we can. Try to get as many allies, try to get as many biracial parents aware. what's going on, because they're not aware, they're not really registering, they're having their own experience, they're having their own, as a white person or as a black person, they're in their own world. So it's like we got to really make sure they're aware of what's going on in our world so they can help us, you know.
One thing though we have to be careful of the
Mhm.
usages of words like anti-black. Like sometimes if you really pay attention to it, basically being pro-mixed is inherent ends up being anti-black. Just by being pro-mixed, you're going to get labeled
Yeah,
anti-black. They make it
exactly.
synonymous.
We don't think like that, but we don't think like that just because like that was so common in like the that was a whole debate in like the pro-black community. Some people did feel like they are anti-white, some people feel like they are not, but I don't feel like I'm anti nothing. I'm not anti. How can I be anti something I am? I'm half white, and how I can't be anti something I am. You know, all I want to do is help people who are like me. That's it. That's all we want to do. Everybody want to help people who are like them to benefit and promote them and help them in life. Like that's all I want to do. And
we
you
assume,
would think, right? There is
but it's not always
who,
like that.
Who be trying to sabotage other people who are like them. That's true. That's true.
And we have a lot because of the fact that a lot of these people are already kind of indoctrinated, and that's like a taboo to kind of claim yourself and not kind of claim that. It's like a taboo, and they feel pressured. They feel like we're not big enough, we're not enough of a group, and they want to be able to still thrive in the black community without getting attacked. And so like there's a pressure for them to even to push against us, like to push against other mixed people, right?
Exactly.
From identifying separately.
He said if we held white people accountable to racism, what makes black people think exactly. I hold both parties accountable. I don't want to hear no excuses about we don't have no power. No, like you said, they do have more power than us, so they can be freaking racist to us according to their own definition of it. You know what I'm saying?
And they also have these weird conspiracies about us, which have to be called out.
Yes, that's what I said. I said that on the stream. I was talking to somebody who's a father, have 4 biracial children. His wife is white. And I was like, look, how are we going to fight back against these mixed race narratives? And the one that I brought up is like people think we're still like a product of rape and stuff. People like to say, oh, you're just a rape baby and all this crazy shit, even though that happened in the past.
But it wouldn't even matter if that happened. It wouldn't even matter if that happened. That's still kind of a shaming tactic.
That's no reason to hate us. Facts.
That's still something to force us in the black community, to make you, well, you got raped, therefore you should only be.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I said about how I've heard this narrative about how we're just trash of the white community, don't want us, they reject us, so we're only in the black community. They're the only people. Because we're trash of the white community, so that's the only reason. Like I hear that narrative, that's why they feel like they can mistreat us because we're just trash of the white community. So
or that you're stuck with them. They think you're stuck with them. You're like, oh, yeah, they're stuck, and they try and they do that as a group. They try to make you feel stuck, and that's what people do. Like that's what abusive partners do, right? To make you feel stuck. Oh, nobody's gonna like you. You can't go anywhere else. They don't like you over there. So we're gonna
that's what they
kind
do
of trap you.
It's an abusive relationship. We do have an abusive relationship with the black community, and it's like we want to heal that. I don't want to feel like I have to hide that I'm mixed race for people to feel comfortable. That's what I feel like I have to do. Like when I changed my name to Magic Mulatto, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, because it was scary to me to like be openly claiming like that I'm mixed. I felt like I was gonna get so much hatred. It was scary to like, but I was brave and like changed the name because online.
Where did you hear that term? Did you hear that term from somewhere else?
Where? Mulatto?
Magic Mulatto.
No, I made that up because the tragic mulatto. So I changed it to Magic Mulatto.
So sometimes black nationalists will say that. Like I've heard one, like extreme one, they'll call Obama the Magic Mulatto. Yeah, they call him Magic Mulatto.
No way. I've never heard that. I just wanted to turn, hey Hazel. I wanted to turn a negative into a positive. That's what I wanted.
So Obama, they call Obama the Magic Mulatto.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Weird. That's crazy. What does that mean?
Because they look at him as like appearing out of nowhere, that he must be like an op. Basically, he's like working for the white. He's secretly an op. Yeah, he's he magically popped up, so he's like a magic mulatto. He's there to
I've heard that narrative,
really trick us.
that they say that we're our agents, like white people. I've heard that about Rosa Parks, that we're hired, or we're actresses hired by the white man to give black people heroes to control them and all this crazy shit. Like it's fucking crazy.
And because the education is not the greatest in the black community, it's even harder to wash out. It's hard to get rid of those rules.
Facts. And that's education and everything. That's what I said. There's so much misunderstanding and miseducation about it, and people just making up shit so they can have an excuse to hate us. And that's what we are fighting against. We're fighting against all these different narratives and all these different things as excuses to hate somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making
there is fear. There is a little bit of fear too. I think they are afraid.
I feel like we need to look honestly. So for you, it's like you kind of still a little bit fear and seeming like, oh, we're a minority. We can't shake the neck. But fuck that. I'm not gonna live in fear of nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to live in fear. I want to be really loud about this. Like, I want to
Right.
go hard. Just like we were going to get the same energy. We weren't scared to fight for Black rights. We were not scared, of course, because there's like a more majority, but we weren't scared to fight for Black rights. I'm gonna get the same energy when it comes to biracial rights. I ain't gonna be scared. I'm gonna be
Right.
loud and proud about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like we should keep that energy. Oh, look, a guest is coming. Oh, George. Hi, George. Thank you for coming up here. I was hoping you would. Yeah, but like
Yeah,
I
I
said, we
just
need to be
now
loud and
noticed
proud.
that you guys were live, so I was just wondering, like, what's going on in here?
Oh
What are
yeah,
we
I
talking about?
got the topic is biracial activism and how we can redefine it to benefit us and not be, always fighting for somebody else who could care less about what we go through and care less about our experiences. Always putting everybody else's problems and issues and stuff before our own. So I like how we got to start putting our own things first. Like we got to start putting
Adonis is.
ourselves first.
I just wanted to say something to Mulatto Vanguard because he's saying something. He said, "Why is this dude hating in the chat? He's under like BSIA and like Miss Sam. That's why he's over here.
Sometimes hate makes sense.
Over,
No, it
but he already,
don't. What if it does?
but Adonis, he already proved
Don't
you
make
wrong
sense.
with the irritated
I
genie.
hate
That's what
hybrids,
he's
so
talking
should
about.
you. No, I'm gonna block you. Let's not do this. I don't want to start no freaking comment section war in here. We're trying to have like an actual productive conversation in here. We're not trying to like sit here and try to have
Yeah,
like a
like
comment
we're
section
not
war.
so like Adonis, we're actually not interested in like becoming some kind of hate cult. That's just
Yeah, we're not trying to be no
really
hate
going to
cult. Like
be our
that's
MO.
definitely
So, dude, don't even comment that BS in here.
Yeah, please don't do that. I'm gonna ask you, but if you don't want to respect it, then I'm not gonna block you, okay? But
Yeah.
like I said, we don't want to be
So
like black nationalists. Oh, go ahead, Jordan.
Oh no, that's just what I was just getting ready to say is that I guess like when it comes around like the activism of biraciality, it should actually be very, very distinct from any other kind of group that is based around like racially based, like nationalism. So we are not going to really like take on any kind of like particular like label or anything. We're not going to even call ourselves even nationalists, but we will kind of call ourselves like activists, but we're not going to really like become so immersed into like a particular label, which is what you will see white nationalists and black nationalists doing.
Facts. And it don't work. They just become.
I don't think these terms are really something that we really have a choice. There's things that other groups will label you based off your like they'll generalize you as kind of like yeah. I mean like because I don't think like these are not terms these are terms that are also put on them. So I mean you can try to, but I think they'll probably find a name, some kind of biracial activist name or something.
It don't even make sense. A biracial, a nationalist, like that don't even make goddamn sense. We're American. At the end of the day, some of us live in Canada. I know you live in Canada, but that's who we are. I mean, that's where we live. So it's like, but yeah, who just jumped off? George, come back, George. Let me post the StreamYard link. Let me post it real quick. Okay, there we go.
I'm saying other people will throw us in a box regardless. They'll throw us in this. Box.
So I was listening to a StreamYard and it was like somebody he was really cool. I liked him. He was saying like something interesting. He was like, I was raised to believe that multiracial is black. So I was like, that's interesting. Like, so there's not going to be a distinction. It's just going to be like, we need our own category? Like somebody else mentioned, it's like we have to have a category because if we want to file reports and file laws and stuff, we got to have a category. We can't just be all just lumped into. We got to we got to really define things. We got to really understand, have some clarity and not it be confusing and be a mess. And, we got to exactly know what we're doing,
And you know what's weird? Okay. About 3 years ago, we were bombarded, and we still kind of are. We got bombarded with all kinds of blacks. Biracial is not black. All kinds of like that. There was all that content on the YouTube on TikTok. There was all kinds of that like you're not black content. It was just like a punch in the face. It was like you're seeing all these messages. But what I've noticed though, me a lot, as soon as now we start kind of grouping, they see, oh no, they're starting to group. They're starting to want to have their own group. Now I see people trying to trick us back in, like you know what I mean? Like they start trying to like, oh yeah, we're all black now. They start doing like it's like but not because they like it, it's just to keep us kind of stuck. Like now that they're going, now they're black. Now they're you guys are ADOS.
We gotta rise, but we gotta get off this freaking Ferris wheel. It's a freaking Ferris wheel to nowhere. It's getting us nowhere. Like, are we progressing? Are we we're not getting nowhere. Just doing this whole loop-de-loop of, oh, you're black, oh, you're not black, oh, you're black. It's just like, no, it's not getting us anywhere. We gotta really like take a stand. Like, no, we're biracial, period. Like, we're not going to sit here and let y'all tell us who we are anymore. Like, we're going to find
Yeah,
ourselves
we
and
can
what's best
identify
for us.
ourselves and not just
Yeah.
identify ourselves.
You have to. So we actually have to be the ones to set things straight with people in regards to how we actually are, distinct and unique from others. Like
Yep.
people who are
Period.
into like white nationalism, they have their thing, or black nationalism, they have their thing, or even like the whole brown pride, California Chicano movements, they have their thing, and they all set things straight with people. And
Period.
we
Yeah.
should be able to demonstrate that same level of energy that they have in terms of setting things straight with people.
But we're a minority, right? And we have these other groups, like more so it's going to be on the black side, that are trying to distort even us, distort, like you see, like black skin is trying to distort our identity. Yeah, trying to distort, trying to trick us. It's all these they're all like malevolent. Their intention is malevolent, but how do we even stop that? Because right now we don't really have a voice where they distinguish us too much from blackness. They'll just our voice becomes the black voice, and then we don't notice when there's something like it, when things are actually it's easy, it's going to be dark skin on light skin. We don't get to see that gets erased from the facts, right? And we just get all thrown by black.
It does get erased though. But even something like that backfires even on them, or even like on other people though. Is just because as soon as we are like getting the shine light or getting the spotlight, then all of a sudden they want to revoke our black card because they don't like how we are now starting to become the voices for black people. Because now it's painting the public perception that in order to really be like this good black voice or be a prominent black figure or black person, you have to be like this very fair skinned man or woman with either blue or green eyes and light skin, or look as if you have a higher level of racial admixture within you.
I think there's a better level of trust. I think when you're talking to white people, they kind of feel a bit better if they could. Hey, he's a bit white too. They feel a bit more. You can bargain a little better. I think. I don't think it's necessarily because it's the image. I think we actually perform well at it. I think it's because we do well.
We definitely. This is why these conversations of us just talking need to happen, because we're distinguishing our voice right now. Just us having a conversation amongst ourselves, and actually that's public, that's out there, it's on YouTube. Anybody can come watch this. Anybody who's not biracial can come see that, look, we have our own thing going on. We're going to distinguish like our own thoughts, our own opinions, our own viewpoint, our own narrative, our own perspective on things. And that's it, that we need to come together and do that. That's what we're doing right now. That's how we're distinguishing ourselves instead of always fighting against. Okay, go ahead. I
think they're going to use like Stockholm mulattoes, right? Like the mulattoes have been indoctrinated from like birth to be black and to date black, and they're going to all of a sudden see these people be planted as pseudo representatives to kind of knock down whatever we're saying, and they have they have a lot, like they can do that. They have a lot of power to do that, right? And that would be, that's something we have to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, like they have all the power and the ability to do that, but then that's where we come in with our own unique experience to pretty much knock down their points. Because I tell these people that, okay, you're trying to be like a spokesperson for me, but look, every day people ask me whether I'm a Spanish speaker or something. Again, even the Las Vegas Police Department put me as Hispanic. And if these people are going to come in and say the stuff like, oh, hey, society sees us as black, well, are you sure about that? Because look at how people treat me at work and look at what the police department put me as. So are you still going to say that I am black from a societal standpoint? I'll be waiting for a response for that from one of these pseudo-intellectual mulattoes who have really been indoctrinated from birth to see such.
Thank you for joining.
Appreciate
you joining the
stream.
Jesse,
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, bro.
Hello.
Hey, let me mute you guys in the back so it's not an echo real quick. Sorry.
Okay. Can you finish your point, Georgia, real quick?
Hey, go ahead.
I just had to say hi. Yeah, go finish your point, what you're saying.
Oh, no. There's just... Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Oh, no. It's just my point is that, yes, I mean, like, hybrid is right in terms of how they're going to probably find whatever these mulattoes who were indoctrinated from birth to basically say that, hey, people are still going to see them as black regardless. So, and I just tell them straight up front is that, okay, well, again, look at how people treat me at work, or look at the questions I get asked almost every day at work. And so are they still going to say that, oh, society sees me as black from a societal standpoint?
That's just what they tell themselves, basically. They don't really know. Like I like what Talia said about people try to define us by our racial identity, not by our genetic identity. So We have a genetic identity. But yeah, hey, every
Even with social identities too, though, which is what
Social
they are
identities,
also
right?
trying to get across in terms of how we are viewed from a societal standpoint. Still, I still interject my experience, which basically goes against this narrative that they're trying to create in regards to how, from a societal
How we're
standpoint,
viewed.
we are seen as just black men and women. I'm like,
People
I
know.
don't think so.
Yeah, come on now. People know. They did. Yeah, but yeah,
But yeah,
Biracial, what's your thoughts on how can we redefine biracial activism and make sure it's benefiting us, and so we're not fighting for everybody else and always putting everybody else's issues first. So we got to put our own issues and stuff first. How would you like to any thoughts or anything about that?
Well,
Go for it.
thank you all for having me on you guys' panel. What's going on,
Of
panel?
course, anytime.
Hey,
Thank
Jesse.
you so much.
Well, what I think is first we got to get our own house in order. You know what I mean? Before we can
Yes.
do anything else.
Period.
We have
Yep.
so much messed up stuff going on here. Biracials attacking biracials, people trying to hate and everything. That it, and that now that we're finally getting our own stuff in order, that we have a little sense of peace in our discords and stuff, that we can finally start to plan and plot to push our movement forward. Before we couldn't do that,
Right.
And now that we actually have a little time to breathe and not care about someone coming out of left field and hit us in the face with something, we can start pushing it forward. But first we got to define is what is it that we want to do first.
Exactly. Exactly. First thing first, we need a hate bill crime. I got the petition. Everybody signed the petition below. Caesar's Cannon petition, so we could get some. That's the first things first. So when we do, we can have that sense of protection. If we're winning, and you know how like people like to hate on us when we're winning, and then they want to destroy us. We can have that sense of protection, so we don't gotta be scared or downplay our lives or anything. Because I know I've been scared. Because people, I've downplayed myself and I downplayed my life, so people don't feel a sense of jealousy and they try to hate on me and try to, hurt me in any kind of way. No, I would feel confident and proud walking around with who I am, my biracialness or who I am. If I have some type of sense of protection, like that would help our people so much. Just having that sense of protection that they know that they could shine and be great and not have to and have some sense of protection and that's what we need. And then we can sit here and fight and argue about whatever because. Whatever, we have some type of laws and stuff in place. We got to have that sense of category and identity too. Like you said, it starts with us first having some sense of unity and collective voice, right? So we can get that done.
The crazy thing is, with all movements, you're gonna get hate from inside first. A lot more hate from inside than you are gonna get from outside. And George, he was correct when he said a lot of things that. We got to start with a small core group of people, a small movement, rather than a big one. And then now that we've done that,
we gotta be solid.
Now that we've done that, we got a lot of hate from our own people because we're trying to build something that we can actually push forward. That's not about attacking other biracials. We want to uplift other biracials and push for the hate crime legislation, for example.
Exactly, because like you said, you can only build on a solid foundation. If your foundation is always being destroyed from within, you're destroying your foundation with drama or, you don't like this other person and you're destroying your foundation. So we need that stability. We need some sense of stability so we can focus, have some clarity, know what we want to do and see how we could do it and just focus on that only and not focus on who's attacking us and who's doing this and who's talking about me and who's doing all this. No, we need to really focus on, that's all a distraction. It's all derailment. And we're not moving forward to getting our hate bill stuff passed that we need. We're not raising awareness to people about our issues and about our things. We're not doing none of that because we're sitting here hating ourselves and hating each other and talking, you know what I'm saying? We're not focusing on what needs to get done. Let's get that shit done and then we can sit here and hate and be mad and do all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think though it might be carryover from the Black community? The kind of
yes, I said that. I think we culturally appropriate Black culture. I really do. Because a lot of us have been taught that we're Black, so that's the culture we take on. The crabs in a bucket mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, definitely, we do. That's why we have to redefine like what it means to be biracial. What is our culture? What are our standards? Like, we have to redefine that and because us going by Black culture is not a good result for us. It's not. It's just not. It doesn't really help us in any way. Like, we need to redefine our values. We need to redefine, what are we really about? Like, who are we? Like, what our family values, all that. We need to redefine it all. We need to really think about that. That's what I'm here to do. Just get people to think about shit.
I think a way to start even with the culture though is to look back even at other places, like other places that are mulattoes. There's a lot of countries, especially in the South, that are just kind of get a sense of the kind of culture that they have, right? Because culture is part. No, people are not going to like this, but culture is partly related to our genes to some extent, right? It's our interaction with the environment, and different groups are going to interact differently, right? If you put like Asians on one island, and you come back 1,000 years, they're going to have a different culture than, let's say, Black people. You put them on an island, they're going to have a different culture, and they have different music. They're going to have different. But when there's no other influence, like no other race there, then it is merely the influence of themselves. There's nobody else to condition them, right? And so you can see what's purely the kind of pure difference in the culture that they'll create. But I forgot where I was going with that. So what the hell was I talking about again? Let's go for it.
The culture, the culture. We're trying to redefine. We're trying to. Okay.
Oh, so yeah, to look at the past, look at the
past,
look at when it's more exclusively like our type, and just kind of get and pick up and see how they live. And I think that stuff will energize. Will give us a sense of that.
That's why I support what Abby is doing. Like those movies and all those films that's been buried and hidden because we don't really know like our history like that. We don't. We're taught either white history or Black history or whatever side we are, and we don't know biracial history. We don't.
Even our history, it's either whitewashed or blackwashed, right? When it's white people, it's whitewashed. When it's Black people, it's blackwashed.
Always,
so exactly. We don't have like a. And even when there's biracials, they're doing it from the Black perspective, so we don't really have a sense of it. Right?
That's big facts right there. It's always from somebody else's perspective. It's never from what we experience in our shoes and our experience from our perspective.
And no matter whatever we've accomplished, it always it's reinterpreted as it's some kind of privilege. We never have an accomplishment. It's always that, well, it's because you were in a privileged position.
We're palatable.
It's never, never.
But that's why I think that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's that they're just trying to like depict biracials in a way of which they perceive biracials to be, when in fact we see that a lot of their perceptions are actually pretty inaccurate. That's where we actually have to step in and be the ones to make the depictions the way that we know they should be, because our experience has hardly ever had any bearing on a white or a Black person's lives. So therefore it should actually be us to tell the story. It's much like how if you go to the office to see your social worker or your therapist, you want to make sure you actually have a competent therapist who is telling you what you need to hear, though. You don't want any of like a therapist who is just there to tell you a bunch of baloney, especially when he or she has never been through the same hellstorm as you. It's the same principle.
Exactly. We need the first source. We need the first source. There's secondary sources of people just saying they're interpreting our experiences and not really. And then there's the first source of us being the one who actually experienced it and actually, like, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have a whole different perspective than somebody who is just trying to interpret our experience from their lenses. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what was I about to say? Hold on.
There are channels out here that are like about mixed issues on the internet and even on YouTube, but it's not us. It's really like Black nationalists, taking different videos from other people who were mixed and trying to just kind of portraying as if it's them talking, but it's really them cutting out what they want to have us saying. Have you seen it? Have you heard of biracial awareness?
No.
I know.
Yes, I have.
That's one like that.
I do know that guy, by the way, though. I actually know him, though. He's actually on my Facebook. His name is Joey, and he's actually from Ireland.
But his perspective, but his angle is coming from the Black nationalist angle. His concern with us is not. It's not concerned with us. It's concerned with us affecting Black people when he speaks. Right? He's concerned about us. Like he speaks from the concern of what will happen to Black people based on us. But he's not. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
The rhetoric that he's spewing, it's like the ACBN rhetoric. It's coming from the Black nationalist perspective, like he's protecting Black people, not really as for us. It's like his mind is not really with it. Kind of like the opposite, where his mind is not really mixed. His mind is kind of he's thinking in favor of Black people. You know what I mean? I'll show you. I'll do a video on his channel. I'll show you all the examples, and you'll see because he'll have weird. I think he even has angry biracial up there. He has him a clip of him talking up there. Like,
wow. How do we overcome this programming though? A lot of us are programmed to like only fight for this side or fight for that side. We're so programmed and indoctrinated into like not really fighting for us. Like, how do we overcome this type of programming to like make sure that we're fighting for ourselves and not for somebody else?
To be quite honest, though, it's hard. it's hard though,
It's
because your
hard.
brain is like a computer, and if it has absorbed all of this subliminal messaging and subliminal
Yep.
propaganda,
Mm-hmm.
and it's learned to survive off of whatever it's been fed for all those years, it's hard to undo all of that stuff. But
Yep.
then again, it's possible, but it's going to be like finding the hay in the needle sack.
Gosh, so that's why like us making content and like really like getting it out there. Because I like what Mochi said. You don't really, if the truth is not out there, it's easy to believe a lie. If you're nobody is saying the truth about anything, it's so easy to just make up stuff and just have everybody believe that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important for us to like have the truth out there and making sure that we're speaking our truth, because that's gonna win at the end of the day. The truth always wins. You know what I'm saying? Against the lie. Lies
Exactly.
are easily
But I will,
destroyed. So.
yeah. But I will also say this though. Now, I'm not going to give out any specific names here or exactly how I'm connected to them. But even a few of my family members, who I'm not going to say who again, um, do have a tendency to one drop. But for them, it's a lot more understandable, is because they were in elementary school during the 1960s. So they were born and raised in an era where, you know, one dropping was essentially the norm. But at the same time, they still acknowledge that we do have some level of uniqueness that separates us from the mainstream like Black community, even though they still have that tendency to one drop. But I think for them, they will always do it though, because from a scientific, you know, I mean, how do I say? Oh yeah, scientific standpoint, there comes a point where the brain does not want to change the way it's been for quite some time. There's a point in time where the brain is not as malleable as it was when you were much younger. And it's at that point where it doesn't really want to change the way it's been for some time. And it's going to stay stuck in whatever thinking patterns or thought processes it's been embracing for quite some time.
Yep, that's true.
Now,
it resists change. Yep.
I wanted to make a distinction here between, again, I'm not the big fan of using the term one drop, but I guess it's like a shorthand for now because it's more like hypodescent. Like I don't think like half a Black person is like one drop. That's a big difference. Like, you know what I mean? It's a big difference from like one drop to a whole half Black person. I think that's a big distinction. But we got to be careful, you know, if they're one dropping because out of the goodness of their heart, or if they're doing it maliciously, right? Now, when we would say something like, now when white people did it to us as a group to force us in, that was done maliciously. And sometimes, like, for example, my mother, I was raised, you know, to identify as Black, but my mother is doing that because she thinks it's to my benefit, not because she's trying to like trick me or because she really thinks I'm fully Black. It's really coming from the goodness out of her heart because she thinks that's best.
Yeah,
and we have to distinguish between that one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that.
Whereas that biracial awareness,
absolutely, though, although it may be done with good intentions, don't get me wrong. Absolutely, like when my family member does it, I don't think that she really means any harm when she does that. Right, exactly. But still, it still is something that is a huge conflict of interest to what we have going on here. Definitely. And that we still have to set things straight, even though many people who do that, as Hybrid suggested, don't really mean any harm. But still, it goes everything against where I stand and everything that I've had to gone through. I hate it, to be quite honest with you guys. So therefore, we're not going to go down that route. I don't hate them, but I do hate just the ideology of it.
We can respectfully disagree. Like, look, can you please not?
I'm saying not to confuse the goodness or badness of the person who's saying it, but because there are a lot of Black nationalists, okay, and even like the guy you just talked about, their reason for saying we're mixed, you guys are great, you guys should have your own community. They're not really doing that because, like, they're not doing that to help us. They're doing this to kick us out. They don't want us around them. So they're like, you're mixed, you're biracial, but they're doing it too because they hate us. They don't want us being around them. They want to separate us. They don't want anything to do with us. And you might confuse that for being a positive. Right, for being like they're doing it because they're just being nice. They're not. They think we're going to fail and we're gonna end up, I guess, disappearing if we do that. So you have to be careful for that.
Great point.
Because it would sound like it's friendly, but it's not really. So be careful.
These are absolutely great points. Wow. But yeah, like I said, we can respectfully disagree with people. We could correct. We have to be the ones who speak up on these things and not be scared. We're forming on. You have a community. Don't be scared to like not be accepted by anybody anymore. You have a community here. We're forming it right now. So you have a community. Just know that. Like anybody listening, you know that. So just don't be scared to speak up and just respectfully disagree with people. You don't gotta be mean or hateful and loud and rah rah about nothing. All you gotta do is respectfully like, please don't call me that. I don't go by that. I'm a biracial. You know, just have respect when you're talking to people, and they'll respect you. You get respect, give respect type thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
Mhm.
It all becomes reciprocal. It's that like if like for you, like Magic Milan, and even for me, or just about everyone in this chat, if somebody maybe can see maybe that we have like the slightest African in us, and they may address us in a certain way, and they want to wonder, we just have to say is something along the lines like, "Well, thank you very much for doing that, but I'm actually am a biracial who actually has faced something completely separate from the black and white community.
Yes,
So
you could be.
therefore, that's
Yeah,
just going to have to be like the bandwagon that I am going to continue to hop on, especially when I
exactly.
continue to experience this very thing, even well up here into my 30s. But thank
Exactly.
you and everything for having a kind heart. But that's just never, ever going to be a label that I'm ever going to take on, especially when it's
Mm-hmm.
been a huge conflict of interest to everything that I've gone through.
Exactly.
That's
Because
I'm
people
not, I'm
completely
take
not
things the
saying that
wrong
you should
way.
take it on, but I'm saying that
That's
how you
that's
I
how
respond
I
love
should be
that.
approach it at
different.
I
this
love
point in my
that
life.
though. So people don't take things the wrong way. Because
Yeah, but I
people
think
say,
you
oh,
should
we're trying to
respond
separate
differently.
ourselves.
Like I'm going to respond a lot nicer to somebody who is trying to do it out of the goodness of their heart versus somebody I know is doing it maliciously, right? Right?
Even
Do
if
you
a
understand what I'm saying?
person is
Yeah.
doing it maliciously, you still have to show that you're actually the better one in the picture. I will be like, you know what, I respect where
Take
you're
the high
coming
road.
from,
I'm talking somebody who
but
might be saying even
nevertheless,
that you're biracial, but they're not making
They're
you
taking
mix
it
or
the wrong
identifying you
way.
mix because they like you. They're doing it because they're trying to get rid of you. They think you're a mutant or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to mistake that and start being friendly to the people that really hate us, and then not being friendly to people who are doing it out of the goodness of their heart. I want to be able to say, hey, to the way I'm going to respond to them is going to be different. I'm going to be okay, thank you, but we do need, the way I'm going to respond differently to the people who are
Yeah,
being
because we need to
benevolent
build
versus
allies. We need
malevolence.
allies. We need allies at the end of the day.
Because the same person who's doing it out of the goodness of their heart is the same type of person who's going to support you anyways, with no matter what you do, versus the other, right? Versus the other
yeah,
person. That's what I think.
Okay,
And they should not be conflated.
I want to address dear Hag. Everybody subscribe to her channel. She has a great channel. I really love her viewpoints and her so subscribe to her. Shout out to her. Do you hate when one side of your family talks crap about the other? My side, oh my god, they're so like opposite. They don't even know each other. They don't even like my black side's in the south and my white side's like in Washington. So it's like they are so far removed. But I've seen that happen. I like my sister's fully black. She has a biracial child, right? And her dad is white and she's black, right? And then I see them trying to like pit against like I see that a lot. Like they're trying to pit them against like their family, like the other. Like I want you guys to like me more, like take my side more. Like you know what I'm saying? I want you to identify with me more than this side. I see that. I've seen that happening. That weird dynamic happen with him. So it's like we have to fight against that in our families and stuff. And let me address it. Our parents exactly. Our parents did not have the blueprint of the community support. Exactly. We have the support. We have the community today. So, we got to utilize it. We got to take full advantage of it and make sure we use it to our benefit. Right. I love it's a great idea. Exactly. I don't want to get too messy on my story. I behave at times. I'll tell you more the way with the twist. This is where things can get tricky. Using discernment, you go by the vibe. I just go by the vibe of things. You could tell when somebody has like a negative vibe, and it's gonna take everything and try to twist everything to try to weaponize it against you. You know that when you're trying to say, oh, I'm biracial. Oh, you think you're better than us? You think you da 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 da. Like you could tell the vibe when somebody is just in a negative, low vibration mindset and just gonna try to find something to attack you, versus somebody who really loves you and it's just misinformed. You know what I'm saying? So you could just always tell. I think there is a way to stand proud despite and with our allies. Exactly. We got to have our allies. Like I'm trying to build allyships with the
yeah,
people with the biracial parents. Like I want to make sure they understand our experiences and what we need. We need hate bill crimes and we're being singled out and bullied and all this shit. Like I want them to be aware of our experiences. But probably a bunch of stuff their kids don't tell them. Their kids probably don't really have these conversations with them because they probably feel like they won't relate, or you know what I'm saying. Or so I'm just trying to speak up. So try to get as many allies as we can on board with signing this petition and signing, like getting our voices out there and trying to uplift and promote our voices. You know, we love,
Right.
we're going to respect our allies. We're not going to sit here and try to clown them or like, you know, like that video you made, Mulatto Vanguard, about them clowning Sean King, about him being Talcum X. I'm like, how are y'all going to clown somebody for the color of his skin when he's trying to fight for y'all, when he's trying to help your community out? Like, we're not going to.
Oh
we're not
yeah,
treat
like
any
he's
of
been
our,
called things like
yeah,
Martin Luther Cream and all this stuff.
yeah. It's like y'all trying to
Yeah,
clown him and
I'm
shame him
just
for
like,
trying to help you. That's dumb to me.
I'm
I don't
like,
get that.
guys, you guys are gonna like seriously throw him under the bus where he has dedicated like nearly half of his life and energy to you guys. I would love to have someone like a Sean King, although
They take
that's
it for
probably not
granted.
going
We
to
don't
happen
have
anytime
nobody.
soon. Because for one,
We don't have nobody
Sean
fighting
King,
for us.
he's older, he's Gen X, he has a little over 1 million followers on Twitter. He's always sharing pro-black content.
I don't like him.
I mean, they have everything that they want. They even have someone like him who will put them up there on a pedestal. I would love for us to have someone like that, even though that's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, these people are going to throw him under the bus and say racist things towards him. Like, guys, that seriously shows how ungrateful you are. At least we're going to be grateful for other versions of Sean King's that we may have.
Fact. So I think that's why the black community is fighting so hard to like try to keep us. Because, you know, they say like, oh, you know, if a light-skinned person, we're palatable and we're like more people are, we're palatable, I guess, to like the white community versus like a fully black person. So us using that palatability to fight for the rights has taken the rights a long way. It's taken it a long way. So if we take away that
feature, it's not like it's not a privilege.
Exactly. But if we stop doing that, then they have to do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a whole lot different than a biracial person fighting for rights because we're palatable to white people, I guess. And versus like a fully black person fighting, I guess they'll feel like there'll be much more. The message won't be accepted by like the dominant mainstream white America.
Yeah. You want to know something?
Biracial person.
There's something I was just thinking about. I'm not really quite sure whether you guys are familiar with these like big like biracial big names, but you guys might be though. There's Tyler One, there's Elliot Hulse, and then there's Jesse Williams.
Yeah, I know that.
Jesse Williams. I know Jesse Williams. I don't know the other one.
Yeah. Like people have always said that I look like Jesse Williams. I mean, he's always been like my celebrity comparison. I always get him a lot. I've even gotten Elliot Hulse, and I've also gotten Tyler One too. At least maybe not so much Jesse Williams though, but I think possibly even Elliot Hulse or even Tyler One could be like a spokesperson and really push our name out there. But although I still like them and I still think they're amazing, I know that's probably not going to really happen anytime soon because they cater to a much more of a broader audience of people, and they probably don't really want our crowd to, you know, make their crowd feel alienated because they're now trying to push some kind of biracial message or something. So they're probably not going to do that because of that. But
if we keep making
maybe another version of them.
I think Patrick Mahomes is one of our biggest guys.
Yeah. I think so too.
I noticed that even if you are a full black parent and half
best in the whole
parent,
league,
they will
not
still
just
consider them.
Position of the whole league.
That's so true. That's so true. But like I said, if we keep doing the work, putting in, having these conversations, making people aware, it's like an idea is like a virus, right? You know what I'm saying? It spreads. Like if we have this, just bring awareness and light to these things. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna spread like wildfire. So people are gonna have this at the forefront of their consciousness and actually, you know, have some awareness, understanding, and want to seek what's going on, and actually want to, you know, people like helping underdogs. We got to understand people like helping underdogs. So, you know, we got to use that to our advantage. And we are underdogs, man. We the underdogs. So, you know, we got to play on that. Not have a victim mentality. We're not victims. You know, we're trying to fight to make sure that we don't become victims of hate crimes and stuff.
Well,
we don't want to be victimized. You know,
not victims. I mean, we are. I mean, in a sense, regarding our identity, we are a victim regarding our
story. Oh yeah, but we're not gonna have a victim mentality. We're not gonna have a victim mentality.
But I would say that is a way in which we are victims. We're like we've lost our identity. We've had that taken from us from other groups, and we've been thrown in, let's say, as only black people by white people, or you know, in the past we were white. So that I would say those are forms of victimization, ways that we have been victimized, and why we are confused. It's not even us. None of us are. When you have like a black and you have a white. You have a black and white parent. You know, nobody's confused. I knew when I was a little kid. First time I ever go to like I think it was kindergarten. First thing kid asked me, why is your mom white? And I explained I have a black parent, I have a white parent, I'm half black. Cool. But I never didn't know that. Like I don't even when we identify as black and white, I never didn't know that I was not biracial. I I never thought I'm
Yeah.
genetically now black. I never thought that.
Wow, yeah. So it's like, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Hello?
You there?
I think her mic cut out.
I'm muted. Oh, sorry. My bad. My bad. Hold on a second. Sorry. But like you were saying about like the whole confusion thing is about like misunderstanding and people always okay. But I was gonna say about how
Them
this
confusing
happened
us,
to
not
black
us.
people. But this happened to black people. You know how like in slavery, you know how in slavery time how white slave masters they restrict their African identity, made them like not speak their language. So black people got their identity stripped. Now that they're trying to do the same thing to us. You know what I'm saying? It's like the oppression becomes the oppressor. Like it's not like
Well, I don't even
really
think
feel like we're
they
oppressed.
knew the language. Like these were just different people from different parts. I don't really think they even got that. They were like that advanced and even knew what they were saying. They were just forced to adopt English.
The first ones off of the boat. You know, they got the same thing happened to Native Americans. They got their culture and identity erased and destroyed by white people too. You know, those boarding schools they made them go to. Like the same thing happened to Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we're all like all of us are trying to reclaim our identity in America because we've been dominated by white culture. So we're trying to all reclaim like our. So I would encourage black people to reclaim their heritage and their culture. We're reclaiming ours. Native Americans are reclaiming theirs, and we're all like sitting here trying to do the same shit basically. We don't need to confuse each other and always try to do the same thing that was done to us to like other people. You know what I'm saying?
We also have to be able to look at history and be able to account for the bias of who might be teaching to us, right? Because even things like you just said about the boarding school, like those things turned out horribly, let's say for Native Americans, but the intention wasn't necessarily to do that. Like one of the things they all got smallpox, but they weren't trying to do that. It just happened that it didn't turn out. But they were really trying to make them like them, like make them civilized. That's not wasn't their intention. But yes, you got to be careful too, because even when we get history in school, we get it very biased, especially if you're from it's like a very leftist or right wing teacher, they're going to give you the information biased according to their own political and they kind of spin it a bit. So you got to be careful, right? A lot of times people are just retarded. They're ignorant and they didn't know any better. And that's very different from knowing better and still not doing it, right?
Exactly.
People hate when I say that, but that's true. It's just the way it's true.
It's true.
Even people,
I agree.
The Nazis, those were normal everyday people from Germany that were normally good people. And they just got bad. It's not, they became bad, but
no, they thought they were doing right. I always believe that. It's scary. Like every side of the war, they believe they're the right side. They believe they're right. They believe they're doing it right. Yeah. Like the people who they were saving their souls and becoming Christian. Like I could understand, you know, but we got to look at the results. We got to just only learn from like people's mistakes in the past, or we can't repeat it. So they thought that.
Believe they're saving you, like they really think I'm saving you from going to hell. They're really trying to help you.
I've been there. I've been super hardcore Christian before. I understand how that feels, trying to force people to go to church so they could save their soul from hell. I totally get that. Like I totally understand. Like people really do believe they're doing the right thing, but the results be horrible. Like all those little, like what happened in Canada. You know that how they find a boarding school with all like the little children that were.
Yeah, we learned about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so sad. But, so it's like, yeah.
It was an attempt to integrate them, and they didn't work. And plus there was just all other things like white people had been, because they had been used to things like alcohol. Like that's one of the biggest. That's probably one of the biggest destroyers of all native civilizations here is alcohol, because and just or even drugs. Like it's really bad here. Like here again, the blacks are not the bottom in Canada, right? It's natives are at the bottom by far, and especially like Inuit coming from the North Pole. They're way at the bottom, and then they're all literally alcoholics, like almost all.
So like hybrid.
So they adopted horrible parts of their culture. So that's
like
sad.
Like hybrid. I can attest to that because
develop
when I was in South Dakota. Yeah, when I was in South Dakota, I visited the Pine Ridge Reservation, which is home to the Lakota tribe. And they have like the highest unemployment there. Probably most people, basically the vast majority of the people there, they do not work at all. And also the alcoholism there and the domestic violence is through the roof. So they want to say that, okay, black men and women are at the bottom of the totem pole. Well, not necessarily, because people have forgotten about Native Americans and what goes on the reservations.
It's like they lost their culture, they lost their identity, and they adopted negative parts of that white culture.
Well, it's not just that. It's because they weren't adapted. They were like, because Native. First of all, Native Americans they have the least genetic diversity because of the how like when they
really?
left that. Okay, because this is like people that left Africa and then they went all the way across the continent, China, and they went to Russia, and then they passed over the ice bridge that used to connect from there to Canada. Right, there used to be a connection between like Russia, kind of Mongolia
The
area
Bering
to
Strait.
Canada,
Yeah.
and then they walked all the way down to the south. So that's how far. And because they were a bottleneck population, that means they're cut off from the rest of the main group. They're very thin genetically. They're very they have the least genetic diversity.
But I know they
And
practice.
that makes them susceptible to a lot of diseases.
That makes sense though, because like what a lot of
Oh.
people have told me though, that they have like a Native American grandparent or great grandparent. A lot of the times it does not pop up in their ancestry results for whatever reason. Could that
Exactly.
possibly be it, hybrid?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but I know that because of those bottlenecks, like even white people are already a bottleneck, right? Because they left. There was a small amount of people that left Africa, and then there's like a bottleneck of a bottleneck when you go across the ice bridge, and so these people are like, they're very thin on their genes, but also white people had already gotten used to having tobacco and drinking, and all the people that would have been that couldn't handle it, they died off. And so over time, it's all the people who have a biological resistance to it. So when you go to all of a sudden now you go to this new land and you see this new people and you give them that alcohol, well, they've never evolved yet to be able to handle it, and they just got drunk and just all become alcoholics, and they can't even handle it. You can't even do anything about it.
But Native Americans, they practice like not trading, but like marrying within different tribes because they knew that their genetic diversity was important. So they married different tribes and like tried to diversify through that.
Yeah.
But let me address these comments. So dear white and biracial community, do you have noticed? Yeah, the cultural appropriation. Everybody wants to like. I've noticed that too, because it's like in the Black community, it's like I don't want nobody. This is our stuff. Why can't we have anything of our own?
Yeah, it's only the Black community, really.
It's only like really the Black community, and then like when it comes to like, oh, if we see like a beautiful Black girl in like a kimono or something, everybody wants to celebrate and praise it. Nobody's gonna sit here and call them out for culture. It's like they really want to, I don't know. It's such a double standard.
It's because I kind of get it. Like they want to have something. They feel they don't have anything, so they have to. But they don't realize how much they've been given. Because a lot of them are not going to go to Africa. I tell you that right now. You want to go over there, live with that culture? No. Right? The culture. Let's be honest. They adopted it. So they're not. That's why it's weird. Even with ADOS being a culture, there's come out of because it's always been under white people. It's heavily influenced by white people. So it's like they actually. I read that it's actually they say that it is a mulatto culture, which I don't like because that sounds kind of negative because if you consider it pretty harsh. But they do say they see America as that because it's always been because of the history. They've taken on different parts of each culture and it's kind of more mixed.
Exactly. It says colorism and a double standard. We're only allowed to praise dark skin. Exactly. That is so true. It said recently found thousands of dead bodies of children. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And they isolated for like 1,000 years plus. Yep. I want to talk about that double standard of colorism too. Like that is like, okay, I don't want to have to, I don't want people, if I praise, I don't want, people are threatened. If they feel threatened. If I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm light skinned, it's like a threat to them. But if I see somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm dark skinned, dark chocolate, I don't feel threatened by that. I think that's beautiful. I think that's gorgeous. Somebody celebrating, who they are. But it's like, people get mad. I'm not saying we're not allowed. We can do whatever we want. We can do this. You know what I'm saying? Just because people don't like it and they're uncomfortable with it, don't mean we can't do it. We don't have to ask permission from nobody to do nothing. We could praise ourselves and love ourselves all day, even if they don't like it. That's what I'm gonna do. Even if it makes other people uncomfortable, I don't care anymore. I really don't. That's their issues to deal with. You're not gonna control me because I make you feel uncomfortable. Like I'm not living by that no more. I'm not going to go, oh, we're not allowed to do this or these double standards. I'm not going by who are making these rules. Like, I'm not going by these little rules that these folks be making up that, don't make no sense no more. Like, I'm going to love and celebrate who I am. I'm love and celebrate people who look like me and all that. So they can be mad all day.
Yeah, and frankly enough, though, even just by the title of the video, though, biracial activism, that in itself is going to make a plethora of people uncomfortable. It's just because, like I said, like in previous streams, it's just going to rise up a bunch of cognitive dissonance in a lot of people. If you really think about it, it's just really, and also like, like how there's a narrative out there though that, okay, Black men and women cannot really be racist or any of that sort. Well, biracial activism is definitely going to bring out a lot of true colors in the Black community because it's just not just white people who feel that a lot of their whiteness is important to them. You're going to have a lot of Black people who likewise think that their Blackness is important to them. And although I'm not a first generational mixed race person, a lot of mixed race people, even my roommate or ex-roommate, who is a first generation mixed person, guess what? Her Black side wanted nothing to do with her.
Yep. Look, we're gonna get a lot of support because this law should apply to every single biracial person. It shouldn't only be Black, white biracials. It should be Black if you're white and Asian, if you're Asian and Black, if you're just biracial people in general in this country need protection. It don't matter what their mix is because they all deal with the same bullshit. It's not just Black and white biracials. Like I know we're the most dominant ones.
I don't think no, Eurasians are actually the dominant, but I don't think Eurasians really go through what we go through. I think it's a bit different. Right?
I think it's different, but I'm talking about in America. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but in America, they're already kind of like the model minority, and they're kind of already close to it. They really don't do. Like, I mean, I don't even think they want to hang with us, to be honest. I think a lot of them are even more, and they're more even like in the pro-white camp. A lot of them because white nationalists they have like a fetish for Asian women. So and part of their strategy is that if they have to mix, if they're forced to have to mix with another group, they're going to go with the Asians, like right. They're going to because they think they're smart.
I can agree with that, Hyberto, because plan, like. I agree with
that. It's a backup plan.
As some of us even so, like as you already know, a lot of us came from pro-Black circles. Well, guess what? I came from pro-white circles, and guess what?
In them too,
even a white nationalist that I even know, even to this day, he has a Japanese girlfriend. Like after he was caught, like with an Asian girl, he came clean with it, and now he's proud about it. And now since then, he's just let go of the label. But yes, a lot of people
think the Eurasian is next national
going on. Okay, but you don't think they would support a hate bill protecting biracial people? I think they would. I think maybe some of them are they don't want to.
No, I'm not saying they wouldn't necessarily.
I think our biggest enemy would be the right wing because they're like, why do they need protection? They're not special. They're nothing. They're nobody. They don't. They're little snowflakes. Yeah. They don't need protection.
To be honest, though, since Magic, since I have came from almost every aisle along the political and ideological spectrum, the left and the right is ultimately not going to even have your best interest at the end of the day. Maybe the right will make it clear that they're not going to care for it, and they're going to feel that maybe we're perpetuating the victim complex when in fact that's not true. We are against any kind of victim complex. Exactly. You will have a lot of people on the right say that, but then people on the left will pretend to have our best interest and may try to go out there and try to show how virtuous they can be for us. But in the long run, they still don't get the experience, and they are still looking to become grifters, or still trying to see how much money that they can basically capitalize off of our emotions and our experiences. So the left is also going to come with a lot of implications as well, and it still is going to be just as useless as what the right is going to do. So I'm not. So for me personally, let's not even like say stuff like, okay, maybe the left or the right, this or that. The left and right paradigm isn't going to mean much to us in the long run because guess what? The left doesn't even have our backs anyway because again, they're going to think that we are trying to say that we don't want to be black and that we have things like
and that we're racist.
Depression. And you're going to have things like that coming from the left, though. And those who are going to attack us the most are going to come from the left, especially when biracials get accused 24/7 of just not wanting to have any kind of African identity whatsoever. That's not going to come from the right. That's going to come from the left.
Facts. Oh my God. So we're our allies.
And also we're being used for a lot of political agendas on the left. Yes, like we're thrown in with people of color and they're able to just kind of add that label. And now all of a sudden they represent everybody. And it's not even, I hate to say it, but it is disproportionately, let's be honest, disproportionately LGBT people doing the people of color thing, disproportionately. The problem with that is that then this group ends up being our whole voice. Do you understand? We don't even get a say. They just said, we're now for all POC. Therefore, when they speak, they're speaking for us, but we never got like a say. We never got a vote if we want to be part of that. And that POC includes basically everybody who's not purely white, right? Yeah. Everybody
exactly. Though, and like we've even said is that, like then remember as I've kind of were saying, like even prior, the left is also going to experience that great deal of cognitive dissonance, because they are also the first ones to say that, okay, well, blacks cannot necessarily be racist because they're not in any kind of position of power. But then again, we'll be the ones exposing a lot of our black racist family members, and then just a lot of the vilification coming from the black community. And so the left is actually going to have to acknowledge that actually we've been even mistreated by the black community in itself. So therefore, the left is going to actually have to change their net. Exactly. They want to coddle people, though. But then how are they going to be able to coddle them and coddle us when they're going to actually have to call out the other community for what it can also be, though? They're not going to like that. So therefore, that's just where my point comes in, Magic, where the left is going to be just as useless because of how they're not going to be willing to call out the other side and say stuff like, okay, black people and white people, especially black people, it's time for you guys to start treating your biracial and mixed race brethren accordingly. Do you think they're going to ever have the audacity to ever say that remotely?
So how do we, if we have no political like allies, how do we get laws and stuff passed where people are going to vote for it and actually want to, you know, make sure it passes? Like how, if we have no political allies,
we have to start from the bottom and then move up. Like start off with a smaller circle. We have to become the voice, and then maybe all those goodies can come to fruition. But left and right are not going to really want to push forward with that at all, especially the left, because of how they're going to be very much unwilling to call out all sides about how they have all mistreated biracial people.
And if you're lighter, you're privileged too. So we're going to be privileged.
Useless.
And the left, you have to remember, the purpose of the left, and people don't like this, is the whole purpose of the left is to try to make you dependent, right? It's to try to do things for you in a way that you can no longer do them yourself. So now you're stuck. Now you always have to vote for them because you've become dependent on their services, on all that you're stuck there. There is no way out. You're now forever in their debt.
So
and
the left is full,
now you can't because you're dependent.
So in other words, the right is full of grifters and the left is full of clout chasers. That's what's going on with these two. Clout chasing goons.
That's so true. It's true. And it's like, it's hard. It's tough. We do have an uphill battle. It's not going to be, you know, we're going to have to really, really go hard. We're used to it, though. Look, we're used to this. We're used to going hard. This ain't nothing new to us, so we could do this. You know what I'm saying? We could definitely do this. Nothing new about it. So,
like, for instance, is the left going to ever confront my ex-roommate's black side and say, hey, you need to stop being racist towards her because she's biracial and stop being racist towards her mom because she's white? I don't think the left is ever going to remotely have the goal to say that. That'll be nice if they were to call.
We're always, because we're always going to be used to make sure they're in power. You guys vote for us. We'll promise all these, just like they did the black community. They promise all these things, and then nothing comes to fruition. And then next voting year comes around, they panhandle, and they pander, and they want to make sure to act like they pretend it's a snake. They're like snakes. They're not really helping you. They just want to make sure you vote for them so they stay in power. You know what I'm saying? We see right through that bullshit.
Clout chasing.
Yeah, we see right through it. That's exactly what they do. It's crazy, right? That James.
Remember, to other groups, we're not seen as people, but a tool. We're seen as a tool that they can use for a specific interest. But it's never as ends in ourselves. It's an ends either to benefit one of them, and usually to benefit black people. We're often used, right? You should be the voice for black people. We get used, right? And we're seen as troublesome if we ever try to say, hey, we're our own, because that kind of sounds, because in a sense there is some right that is right leaning to say that you're your own. That is kind of right leaning that to be inclusive, not inclusive, but exclusive is definitely not left, like the opposite, right? Because you say, well, I'm right. You guys
sorry, a little bit off topic though. I guess somebody was asking, is that me on the lower left? Yes, it's me. That's me in the picture. But anyways, go on.
Just the ability to even have your own group to some extent it requires exclusivity, and the left is not. It's kind of going the other direction. That aspect of us is right-ish. That's right-leaning. Wanting your own group and saying we are this unique group, and we want that is right-leaning. You understand? Because the left, it's all about everybody kind of. Basically, it's like everybody kind of going towards a kind of pansexual, amorphous, mixed kind of like the world one race kind of mixture. That's the kind of the direction that they're going in, which makes it hard for us to really to distinguish. Say we want to be our own people. We are this specific people because I'm gonna say because that's moving away from the project of creating a kind of like I guess this grayness, this kind of gray ubiquitous. Right, or everything is the same, right? A kind of homo global culture, like it's all the same culture, like a.
Yeah, let me address Duke. Okay, my mother was part of a coalition to get recognition for the term biracial. Everyone said they didn't have the power to win, but they did. Hey, shout out to your mama. She's a real fighter. I love that. So my next point is, my next topic is entertainment. So I feel like we have a lot of we're represented a lot in entertainment, right? There's a lot of biracial people in the spotlight or whatever. And how will we get
in the world, or are we just looking at them? Like,
I'm talking about just America. I'm talking about just like entertainers, like actresses and actors. They're used for their beauty and they're very talented and creative and they appeal to like both cultures. So it's like, how can we get entertainers to help fight for our rights? Do you think that will ever be an option, that entertainers are speaking up on our issues and they're actually trying to help biracial people pass laws? And will that ever be like a popular enough a thing? Because it's not popular. They only want to do what's popular, right? If it's going to be popular, they'll jump on it. But other than that, how can we make that like something that is socially acceptable enough for like entertainers to want to use their platform and use their social influence to help benefit like passing these hate laws and stuff like that,
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. To be honest, it'd probably be more white allies than there will be.
You think there's more white allies?
I think there might be more in favor of that, not because they're our friends, but maybe they don't like. They're trying to put something on black people, but
oh Lord.
Well, then I guess I don't know. I don't feel white people might think that they are really like. I don't know. I don't think they're probably as worried about. I don't think they'd be as worried about something like that. I think black people would be a lot more of a pushback.
Honestly, like if anything else, I think that a lot of white people are probably not going to really be sure as to what to think of us. So they're going to probably think about, well, this experience that they're having has never had any bearing on my life. Okay, they don't necessarily call themselves black. Okay, they don't really like things like the persecution or victim complex. They don't like any of that stuff. So if anything, we might be like a huge mind fuck to them. Pardon my French.
Damn. So it's like we force people to we force people out of black and white thinking of always like we force people to expand their minds. Like you have to expand your mind to encompass our existence. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to have like these neat little boxes and categories and this is this is this, and it's like we're in between that. We're like a bridge that people don't want to see. They don't want to see that there's connections to all races because there's so many biracial people of all different mixes everywhere. So it's like my thing
Sarah.
Hey Sarah, thank you for joining. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being part of the conversation. I love mixed women's voices, being part of the conversation and stuff. But what I think is
we appreciate it, Sarah.
Yeah, I think that women hold a lot of power, us like women, how we have a lot of social influence. So that's why I encourage a lot of women to start speaking up and start getting on board with we do. Because what we experience, we get singled out in workplaces like that's been a lot of our experience. Us as mixed women, we all have dealt with a lot of jealousy and hatred and being targeted and being singled out. So it's this is why us as women need to start speaking up about these things, you know what I'm saying? Because we get more attention, obviously, because we're women, right? So we have a lot of social influence and stuff like that. So I really want to encourage women to speak up on their experiences and start pushing this petition and this hate bill.
I'll be back from the Mochi channel.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. But yeah, I think I'm gonna just any more last thoughts, because I wasn't trying to stream at the same time Multi was streaming. So any guys, thank you for being here so much. I'm gonna just end this. Okay. I think we got a lot of good points in. And anybody have any final thoughts?
I pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
All right, perfect.
But what about you, Hybrid?
No, I'm good. I just came down.
All right, perfect. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys like content like this, being biracial activists, we're having a lot of engaging conversations and that are focused on us and that are focused on our issues and they're focused on what we need to benefit us and all that. So thank you so much. Please subscribe and like, and thank you so much for being here and being part of the conversation.
Bye, guys.
I
Nice to see you all.
appreciate you. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, it's